With the NHL season quickly approaching, yesterday we checked out 3 breakout candidates for the Eastern Conference. Today, we head west. Welcome back, hockey fans. Welcome in if this is your first time to the channel. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow. And today, it's Sunday, August 28th, 2022. That's right, yesterday we had the pleasure of going through 3 players that I think are going to have huge seasons, breakout seasons for the Eastern Conference through our question of the day. Well, guess what? We're back. Same question, but for the Western Conference. Stick around for that. If you do enjoy the content, take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. We're just getting started, but we're going to keep bringing you hockey videos almost every single day. Want to make sure you never miss a beat. Let's get on into it. First, we got to get into Today in Hockey History. On this date, August 28th, in 1989, the legend Lanny McDonald would announce his retirement from the league. He had won the Stanley Cup 3 months prior with the Calgary Flames, and he did finish his career with an even 500 goals. So not too bad, absolutely. All right. Question of the day. We did it yesterday. We took a look at 3 players from the Eastern Conference that I think are going to have huge seasons. So you know we got to do the Western Conference. Same thing. We're going to break down 3 players using Jfresh hockey data. We use some hockey reference stats, elite prospect stats. Today we have a little bit of a wrinkle. We're introducing hockey prospecting for one of our players. So let's get into it. First up, Colorado Avalanche forward Alex Newhook. Yes, that's right. I think the Colorado Avalanche, they just won the Stanley Cup, but I think they're also going to have a player breakout this season, and I'll tell you why. So first and foremost, let's look at the numbers. Alex Newhook last season, not too bad at all. Played in 71 games. It was his second season in the NHL. Did put up 13 goals, 20 assists, good for 33 points. Absolutely fantastic. And he did average just over 13 minutes of ice time. So how did he do in his time on the ice? So according to Jfresh Hockey, and big shout out to him for these player cards, always love breaking them down. So our sample size is a little small, right? 33 games as opposed to the 71 he played, but in those 33 games, he did fare pretty well. We do see a lot of blue. We do see some red in there, but he was a young player learning on the fly. He did have a solid impact for that Avalanche team. He passed the eye test, if you will. I did get the opportunity to watch quite a few Avs games just because of where I live, and I do like the Avalanche, absolutely. I'm an Avs fan. Let's go Oilers all the way, but I am an Avs fan based, got family in Denver, so shout out to you guys. But Alex Newhook, what I did see from him, I was a big fan. I loved what he brought to the team. He had a lot of energy. His offensive game, not too shabby, but let's see what the numbers had to say. Speaking of offense, even strength offense, he didn't do too well as opposed to his even strength defense. That means he did much better at keeping teams from scoring goals than he did helping his team score goals when he was on ice at even strength. But I fully expect those numbers to improve. His shooting percentage, I don't mean his shooting percentage, that was 11.5, but his percentages in the shot category all fared out fairly well. We see a lot of blue. His one-timers, fantastic. Probably, again, a small sample size, but there at the bottom in the Jfresh hockey cards, we do see he grades out fairly well in his shot category and his zone entry category, so neat to see. He does need to clean up his zone exits, absolutely. More experience, more ice time, and I think that's exactly what he's going to get this season. So he should have a defined role on the team. We talked about it yesterday. No spoilers. I'll leave the link down in the description so you guys can check that one out if you haven't, but we talked about it with those guys yesterday as well. It's really important to have a defined role, to know what you're going to be doing, what you need to get done, and what you need to accomplish, what you're responsible for, right? So as it stands right now, he slotted in to be the third line centerman, and he is probably going to slot in on the second line power play, which I think both of those are great spots for him. Young player coming into his own, but he can own his own line, and he can also own a piece of that power play as well. I really do expect his numbers to rise, especially with that more responsibility. I know he did have some healthy scratches in the playoffs as well. So if the Avs make it back, which they should, I fully expect Bednar to trust him a little more with that and give him some more ice time as well. But those shooting numbers do indicate that his even number offense and his power play, because we do see those power play numbers were a little rough, those should go up as well. And again, that power play number might be real low just because he didn't get too many opportunities, but this season he should. So again, I really do think it comes down to opportunity. I think the talent is there. If we look at the hockey prospecting player comp card here, shout out to these guys. I love these as well. We do see one player comp in particular that stands out. It might be a little small, but Henrik Zetterberg. I do like that. That's very intriguing. I know the other numbers don't necessarily speak to Alex Newhook becoming a star, but for him to break out, what about 50 points, 55 points, maybe 60 on the super high end, but that Henrik Zetterberg comp is very interesting, very intriguing to me. But Alex Newhook, I think he's going to have a great season, a breakout season for the Colorado Avalanche. All right, who's next? Okay, Seattle Kraken fans, you guys should be excited. After the excellent draft you just had, you already had a great center in the pipeline from the previous season, Matty Beniers. I tell you what, he only played in 10 games last season for the Kraken, spent the majority of last year with the University of Michigan tearing it up. We see there 43 points in 37 games, but he did play 10 games with the Kraken last season, and what I saw, I was very impressed. He had an impact all over the ice. He was scoring goals. He was making assists. He was making good plays. He was quick. It was a lot of fun to watch. Kraken fans, you guys should be very excited. So in those 10 games, he put up 9 points. That's fantastic. I absolutely don't expect him to keep that pace up, but I do fully expect him to have a solid season. That shooting percentage, 16.7, it's a little high, right? Maybe that is where he's going to slot in, but we do see other players, more prolific goal scorers. Boy, that shooting percentage maybe is a little high for your first 10 games in the NHL, but it's a very small sample size, right? So I expect that to maybe come down a little bit, but I do love to see that they gave him time on the ice, almost 17 minutes. I fully expect that number to stay there, if not increase by a little bit, absolutely. And the reason I say all this, a lot of it's based off of the daily faceoff lineups. Right now, they got Matty Beniers slotted in as a first-line centerman. I don't think that's exactly where he's going to fill in that roster. Jared McCann had a great season last year. Wenberg also did really well, but Matty Beniers could fit in, slip him on the second line, let him have his own line, let him own it, but they're going to give him the ice time this year. Unless he really struggles, pulls the Cole Caulfield, and they have to send him down, they're going to give him every chance and every opportunity to succeed. And the player comps, this is what really intrigued me. So since he did play such a limited number of games last season, we don't have the data to look at like a full player card and see where he really graded out against other NHL players, but we can look at the hockey prospecting player comps because there was one that really stood out to me, and that was Braden Point. So Matty Beniers is a couple inches taller than Braden Point. I think Braden Point's listed at 5'10", maybe 5'11". Matty Beniers at 6'1". But I do see some odd similarities in their game. They're both very graceful skaters. They both put in the effort. They're both offensive. I mean, they both did very well offensively when they're called upon. Braden Point made a living last season. It felt like on the power play, just living in the slot right there, just picking out goals. I could definitely see Matty Beniers doing something very similar. But I do like this player comp. So if we look at the player comp a little more here, we see the 36. So that means last season, Matty Beniers was projected in his D1, so his first year after being drafted, he was projected to have 36 points in an NHL season. 36 points. If he got 36 points this coming season, I don't think the Kraken would be upset with that by any means, but I think that might be a little low. Matty Beniers really did look good on the ice last season. I would not be surprised if he puts up 40, 45 points. 50 points might be the absolute high, but man, we could see him. What if he gets 20 goals next season? I would really love to see it. I really think his assist numbers are going to be really high as well, especially because he's going to be playing with better talent. Oliver Backstrom, we already mentioned McCann. The Kraken did some things this offseason, so I'm very excited to see what Matty Beniers does. Absolutely. He is our second breakout candidate for the 2022-2023 season. Let's see who we got. Last but not least, Miro Heiskanen. So this one might be a little bit of a surprise, which of these things is not like the other. Well, the other two players are young players, and Miro Heiskanen, yes, he's still a young player, right? Only 23 years old, but there are some folks out there will tell you, and Stars fans in particular, Miro Heiskanen has already broken out. He is one of the best defenders in the NHL, and I agree with you. I am such a huge Miro Heiskanen fan, but when you look at his numbers, he hasn't put up too many points yet. And so that's what I mean in regards to a breakout season. I think the entire world is going to get introduced to Miro Heiskanen this year. We're going to not have any other option than to talk about him because he's going to finally put it all together, and this offensive side of the game is really going to flourish, and those point totals are going to rise. So let's take a look at what he's accomplished last season. Again, he had an excellent season. Look at that WAR, 98%. That means he graded out better than 98% of the NHL last season. That is absolutely fantastic. Look at that even strength, offense and defense, 94 and 97% respectively. That is fantastic. Look at the defensive numbers too. Across the board, just fantastic. I got to talk about it. Elephant in the room. There is only three, four, five. There's only like 5 little spots of red on this entire player card. Miro Heiskanen had an amazing season. Now, he only played 70 games only, right? So I do want to see him play a full 82 again, but the point total, 36 points last season, only 5 goals. He is absolutely capable of more than that. We even see that in his rookie year with 12 goals. So even if he was to replicate that and build on his assist numbers a little more with experience, with these reps, he's already one of the best defenders in the league. I absolutely expect his point total to rise. The other factor that we have to consider with Miro Heiskanen, there's a lot of changes happening in Dallas right now. I know Stars fans are a little worried about Ottinger and Robertson. Don't worry, guys, they'll get signed. I believe it. But changes have happened, right? We have a new coaching staff. Klingberg is gone. He joined Anaheim. So Miro Heiskanen might get an opportunity. Maybe he's going to get to captain the power play, right? Run the point a little more. Get some more opportunities to score goals. Maybe the new coaching staff sees something in him that the previous one didn't, and they want to use him in a different way. But however they do, I hope they do find a way to get him more involved offensively. I hope he finds that confidence offensively as well, because the skill, the talent is there. Defensively, he's already one of the best. Oilers fans, I hate to say it, but he really did check Connor McDavid in one of those games. So Miro Heiskanen, I fully expect he's going to have another great season defensively, but this season, I think he turns it on offensively as well. I want to see at least 50 points, maybe 55. Again, I think the ceiling would absolutely be 60, but if he starts hitting those numbers or above, we will have no other option but to talk about him. So, all right, guys, what do you think of my 3 breakout candidates for the Western Conference? Be sure to check out the Eastern Conference video as well. These are so much fun. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Who do you think is going to break out? Did I not cover them? I would love to hear your thoughts as well. But that's going to do it for the video today, guys. Thank you all so much. I do appreciate y'all. Please take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton, and you'll never miss a video. But until tomorrow, cheers.